Is your company's brand strategy leveled up? We've got what you need right here on the Leadership Voice. Welcome to the Leadership Voice. I'm your host, Jay Barbuto. Today's show is about brand and marketing strategy. Joining us are Victoria Ho, Marketing Director of Aero GTP, and Rochelle Reiter, CEO of Well Connected Brands. We also have a great leadership lesson being delivered by Chiranjeev Kohli. We have a great show for you, but let's get things started with our quote of the day. Today's quote comes from Scott Bedbury. A great brand is a story that is never completely told. Our first guest today is Victoria Ho, founder of Sherpa CPG and Kahlo. She's a brand strategist and award-winning innovator in the natural food and wellness space, where she's guided over 200 products from concept to retail shelf. Her passion for connective storytelling helps purpose-driven leaders find their voice and scale their vision. Please welcome to the show, Victoria Ho.
Thank you so much for having me, Jay. It's always such a treat to be here with you.
So let's start and let's jump right in. Could you share a little bit about your marketing journey?
Sure. So I'm not a classically trained marketer. I didn't go to school for marketing. Went to school for English literature. I share that because the heart of marketing and what I do a lot now with branding starts with storytelling. My marketing journey really began when I got thrown into running a brand and operating a factory. So when you're trying to really grow a consumer brand, you better learn to figure out how to market it. From there, I realized that a lot of brands don't make it past the first couple years, not only because the industry is difficult, but because there's a preponderance of ideas and things tend to fall apart in execution when it comes to connecting with consumers. So how do I help brands kind of bridge that gap was really, really meaningful to me. Started my firm, Sherpa CPG, focused on branding and innovation, and earlier this year, co-founded and launched a new consumer brand rooted in Ayurveda called Kahlo. So diving right back into the hot seat of how to really bring that brand to everybody's table.
Now, early in your career, the first company that you founded, the first company that you owned, what was it called? Tell us about that.
It was called Pops a Lot. It's still around, and it was riding the wave of kind of when popcorn became America's favorite snack again from the shelf, and not just something that you had from the microwave or over the holidays. And that was a company that grew from a cottage industry, like over the stovetop, houses overflowing with popcorn, and then bought a factory when we outgrew our commercial kitchen. And yeah, that's from the beginning to international distribution.
That's exciting. So if people have a certain type of popcorn and they say, ooh, I really like this, there might have been some roots in some of the early creative work that you did with that. And what other brands are you maybe most proud of that you've had a large role in?
The first client that I had with my consulting firm was Nestle Foods. I'm really proud of my time there because I got a lot of insight into how big food operates. The brands I choose to work with now are very much in the emerging stage, and so it's being able to give them some of the tools that I picked up from working with big food, but still with kind of the heart and hustle of a startup. A couple brands today that are local to our area, Marimix, just got into Sam's Club. They have a factory out in Orange County, work with an incredible brand called Arya right now that's bringing traditional Indian roti to consumers everywhere. And the chai box is one of my favorites. They're an Oprah's favorite thing pick, and really dozens more that I could talk about for hours.
Yeah, but that's great. And so as a brand strategist, tell us, what is brand strategy and how does it differ from marketing strategy?
Fantastic question, because brand and marketing are often conflated. The way I would describe it maybe to a younger me is that brand is representative of who you are, and oftentimes it reflects who you serve. Marketing is all of the vehicles by which people meet you. So if you are brand, marketing is how they connect with you.
What are the skills that a person would need to have developed or need to develop if they want to really thrive in the branding world?
One, you have to have a lot of inherent curiosity. I pick up inspiration for branding from literally every industry. My computer constantly has about 84 open tabs, and I just dive into rabbit holes all day. I think that a lot of people that are drawn towards marketing and branding see themselves as creatives. I would say in today's world, you have to be more than a creative or an analyst. You really have to translate those two fields to be able to connect every other department and every team member on that department to what makes consumers tick and why your brand is the one that they perhaps never knew that they needed. So being a translator over just a data cruncher or a creative, I think, is very key.
So there's a lot of relatability to that has to take place in your world, and understanding what people's message is going to be through their stories.
Yes.
So how does product and service branding lend themselves to different types of strategies?
I think it would be is when you have a product-based brand, establishing trust with your consumer, which is key, comes from repetition. By that, I mean you have to be able to replicate consistently exceptional results every single time with your product. The brand ethos supports that product. If you are a service-oriented brand, what you're really hoping to do to drive trust is establish a relationship with your clientele or customers. So if you think of it that way, as repetition for products, relationships for services, that gives a baseline to how you approach the way that your brand looks, feels, and talks to the consumer.
So could you talk about the consistency factor? What happens if a company is not being consistent?
One, your consumers will let you know. And two, I always see these things as opportunities. This happens more often than you think. I believe that, one, it starts with really having a pillar of integrity by which you drive the results you want to see. And by results, I mean, how do consumers perceive you? If you start to hear from the population that your brand is disappointing them in some way, one, that's a good indication that you have established some sort of credibility or reputation with your consumers. That's great. So now your job is simply to protect and realign what may be happening with what others are experiencing. And that is always an opportunity to remind your consumers that you are listening as a brand and that there are humans behind your brand, whether you're a product or a service, and those humans understand what their consumers are bringing to the table and are putting in every effort to realign with their North Star.
Could you talk a little bit about the role that emotion plays into some of this process?
So much. I think, again, whether you are a product-oriented brand or a service-oriented brand, people want to feel good about where they spend their money, and they are looking to feel smart, or they are looking to feel nostalgic or delighted by what they bring into their home, and oftentimes serve their families or help to make some part of their life smoother or more efficient. So emotion really is, I think, the umbrella by which people choose things. And if you are a new brand, your ability to be more human and connect deeper with consumers so that you can convert them to what you are offering or selling, I think is an advantage that any emerging brand should leverage. But emotion also doesn't always have to be extreme love or desire. It can be connecting with someone based on humor, and it creates levity in their day. Or it can be allowing for the emotion of relief to be given to somebody who is maybe sick or tired, or sick and tired of something, and you're providing an antidote to that.
What advice would you give a marketing executive in the branding world?
Always keep in mind that your core job is to build trust before you build buzz for your brand.
I want to thank you for joining us on today's show, Victoria. We're going to have you back here in just a few minutes to participate in our leadership panel along with our next guest.
Amazing. Can't wait. Thank you, Jay.
It's now time for a featured segment of the Leadership Voice. It's today's Did You Know? 81% of consumers need trust before buying. 77% of consumers buy from brands that share their values. 94% of consumers recommend to others brands they feel emotionally connected to. All this means that your business needs to leverage branding and marketing to create trust, share values, and create an emotional connection. It's now time for today's Leadership Countdown. Today we bring you the 5 brand marketing trends for 2026 and beyond. Number 1, AI-infused hyper-personalization. Brands will use AI to go beyond basic tailoring, creating unique customer journeys with personalized colors, layouts, and interactions that adapt in real time to individual moods and needs, making customers feel truly seen. Number 2, purpose and authentic values. Consumers demand brands stand for more than just profit, requiring tangible proof of ethical sourcing, sustainability, and social impact to build genuine emotional connections. Number 3, dynamic and fluid brand systems. Rigid logos are out. Expect adaptable, evolving brand identities that can change across platforms but remain true to core values. Number 4, sensory and immersive experiences. Brands will expand beyond sight using motion, sound, texture, and even mixed reality to create memorable, multi-sensory brand words that captivate micro moments. Number 5, community-driven co-creation. Brands will shift from telling stories to collaborating on them, involving their communities in innovation and narrative building, making customers feel like co-owners of the brand's journey. In essence, the future is about using advanced technology, AI, and data to deliver deeply human, authentic, and personalized experiences that resonate emotionally and build strong communities, providing value beyond just transactions. Don't go anywhere. We have Rochelle Reiter in the studio right after a word from the Giles O'Malley Center for Leadership. The Bringing Learning to Work program is our way of connecting the faculty of Cal State Fullerton with the business community of Orange County and Southern California. We have over 72 training programs that are available via distance or face-to-face. And the faculty come to your company and they deliver the training to your employees.
The Bringing Learning to Work program is really fundamentally, it's leadership programming. We do diversity and emotional intelligence training. We partner with Cal State Fullerton because they had subject matter experts in these fields. And we're really fortunate and privileged to be able to do that.
Many companies can't afford training and development personnel. And so this is a great opportunity to leverage Cal State's faculty to help them develop their learning programs.
The leadership of the center and the students allow me to not only bring leadership development to my company, but allow me to interact with some amazing students who have grit, potential, and just amazing futures in front of them, and I get to take part of that. It's a wonderful feeling.
When your organization is ready to develop its talent, reach out to the Center for Leadership, and we'll help get you there. Welcome back to the Leadership Voice. Our next guest is Rochelle Reiter. With an MBA and 3 decades in marketing, Rochelle has led brand and marketing strategy for top organizations and founded Well Connected Brands, a certified women-owned business to champion wellness-driven companies. A longtime Vistage member and former podcast host, she is recognized through multiple industry awards and certifications for her leadership and impact. Please welcome to the show, Rochelle Reiter.
Jace, thank you for having me today. It's great to be back at my alma mater. Go Titans.
That's right. You are a Titan.
I am a Titan.
A two-time Titan.
Two-time Titan, for sure.
Tell us your story, especially the story that came after Titan.
When I was a Titan, I was in one of my favorite classes for marketing, and my professor was Dr. Chiranjeev. And at the time, they had a professor for a day program there. So they had a guest speaker. His name was Wes Phillips, and he owned a marketing and advertising firm. And he just blew me away. He was so articulate, and he had us all do this exercise where we pulled out a paper, and at the top, he had us write our name, so Rochelle, and then the letters INC after it. So Rochelle Inc. And he basically was trying to say what you are is your brand, your personal brand, and what you do with it, you can do anything you want. So he opened me up to a world of possibility. And it was in that moment that I decided I wanted to be in marketing. So after class, I asked if he was interviewing for positions, and they just so happened to have a job open as a media assistant. And the interview process began, and then I was hired right after graduation to what was then called Hunter Barth Advertising, and I started my first job there and then continued to work there for 30 years and became one of the agency's partners.
That's terrific. And then tell us about Well Connected Brands. This is a new spin-off. It's your own founding company.
Yes.
What was it designed to do? What does it do?
Well Connected Brands, I started about 1.5 years ago. And it's a small strategic team, and we are in the business of connecting communities and living well. So we're a full-service marketing and advertising firm, and we do strategic branding, social media and content, website design, consulting and training, and digital marketing.
And so when should a business bring in a marketing agency?
So in fact, about 80% of companies already have somebody on staff in marketing, but I think it's really difficult for marketing people in marketing on the brand side in-house to stay up with technology. There's so many things that come out daily. I mean, all the AI tools that we have, all the different apps that we have, it's really hard for them to stay up to speed and really keep that skill set up to par without the resource of an advertising or marketing firm. So times where we see we're pulled in is if somebody needs a specific skill set, say social media, graphic design, SEO, digital marketing, and they don't have that on staff. So they may have a marketing director and a marketing team, but they don't have that specific skill set. So then they bring us in. And we've been working with some of our clients for so long, we are actually their outsourced marketing department. Another instance is if a company is going through a big dramatic shift, if they're merging with another company, if they want to do a rebrand, it's really good to get an outside perspective of somebody else that's an expert. The other business opportunity that you have when you work with an agency is that our team has the experience of working with multiple brands over multiple years in multiple different scenarios. So we know what levers to pull and when to pull them and can bring that expertise to a brand in-house.
So it's common in your world for you to be working with folks in marketing at companies.
100%. So some of our clients, we're dealing with the CEO and we are their marketing department. In other instances, we're dealing with the company's marketing department and we're just maybe their social media agency or we're doing a website project for them. So it really varies. And because we're small and nimble, we're flexible in that nature.
And so from organization to organization, what their marketing needs may be can differ. And it's and an agency like yours and there's other agencies that sort of provide what's needed.
Correct.
All right. So what are some of the channels that are most relevant to reach your audience?
So there's so many channels out there right now, it's hard to know, right? So there's two things that you have to figure out. So the first one is, who is your audience? What is their demographic? What are their beliefs? What is their lifestyle? And where do they actually go to get information? One step to finding that out is to interview them. If you can have access to your customers to interview, see their habits. What are they using on a daily basis? There's also research in the marketplace that you can access to see where they are. The next thing that you have to consider is, what is your objective? So if your marketing objective is awareness, you may want to do a TV spot and reach them in TV if they watch TV. If your marketing objective is lead gen or conversions, you may want to do Google ads. So it really depends on what your goal is with that particular customer. We typically find that a media mix is best, so using multiple channels. One little brief story, we have a client, they're called Greenwell Farms, and they produce Kona coffee on the Big Island of Hawaii. And they sell from the farm, and then they're an e-commerce brand. So you'd think Google ads would be really good for them and effective, but it's not, because their coffee is premium. And you have to have enough time to tell the story of their brand. So storytelling for them is key. Google ads don't work, but what does work? Blogs, video format, a lot of social media where we're engaging the audience. So it really depends on your marketing objective, as well as who is that particular audience and what stage of the life cycle that they're in for their customer journey.
And do the channels that work best, do they sometimes evolve and do they sometimes change?
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing channels pop up all over the place. So I don't know if maybe 5 years ago, we didn't have Nextdoor, that app, and now we're marketing on it. So it just really depends, and it's hard for internal brand teams to really stay up to date on the pulse of that activity in the marketplace and see what's happening. So we're able to do that with our team.
And so if we're not really examining the potential different channels, we might be missing out on some opportunities 100%. And some connections.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about storytelling. What is the role of storytelling in building and executing a marketing strategy?
So there's a fact that's out there that storytelling, telling stories, is 22% more memorable than just facts alone. So whenever we can weave in a story with our brand and our execution, we're burning that into people's minds. They're memorizing it. It's memorable to them. If you think about the big brands like Patagonia, they tell stories with all of their marketing. And so I think that it's really important that if you have if you have a brand, a big brand why, you weave a story around that and then you execute on it. An example of that would be using testimonials to tell your story on social media. So you can tell that story through your internal team and with your customers. And the beauty of that is that stories can evolve over time because your customers evolve over time. So really tapping into your customers, listening to them, and drawing that information out from them is key.
So what advice would you give a senior executive that declares, when presented with maybe marketing or branding kinds of strategies, when they just sort of say, I got this?
Well, you don't know what you don't know. So my encouragement would be to listen, to read, to ask questions, and always be curious. There's so much information out there. I am learning every day. I learn so much every day from reading, listening, watching webinars, podcasts like we're doing right now, and just always be curious. And then also to surround yourself with a great team. I have a great team and they're super, super smart. They challenge me and it makes me better. So really being open to learning from others is what I would say.
Well, that's terrific. So, Rochelle, I want to thank you for being on the show and invite you to stick around for our leadership panel in just a few minutes.
Looking forward to it.
It's now time for our leadership example. Today's leadership example comes from GoDaddy.com blog. The pinnacle of branding success is when your brand becomes the default word for that product category. Today, we bring you the 30 most recognizable brands that have replaced the product names. Don't go anywhere. We have our leadership lesson coming right after this. Welcome back. It's now time for our leadership lesson. Today we hear from Dr. Chiranjeev Kohli.
Hi, I'm Professor Kohli, and this is your leadership lesson for the day. Today, I'll talk about how technology impacts branding. I'll do this in 4 parts, drilling down to the very core to guide my conclusions. First, what is branding? At its core, it's a promise to your customers. For it to be successful, there are 2 components. A very clear statement of differentiation, which should make a compelling and meaningful argument as to why anyone should choose your brand over competitors. This message should reach the right customers it is intended for, which is what typically makes this exercise expensive. Branding works because humans have limited processing capacity. We can't process every detail about every brand. So branding with what it emphasizes becomes a proxy in decision making. Next, let's talk about technology. I have a very simple definition. It's what's the latest and greatest in the last 3 to 5 years. And while so much can be included here, the elephant in the room is AI, especially its generative strain. So how will AI impact branding? Well, it won't impact much the practice of creating meaningful differentiation. That will remain in your control. But it'll make the second part, getting the message to the right customers, much easier, since this is mostly a data crunching exercise. But it will strike at the heart of branding as a proxy in brand choice because AI has unlimited processing capacity. Consumers can simply ask AI engines to choose a brand based on the attributes they value. Finally, what can you do this in new market order? Well, there are 3 ways to succeed. You provide real value. Beat others on attributes. If you don't, you can't fool AI into believing otherwise, because it has unlimited processing capacity. Second, create emotional connections. Your brand should connect with customers at an emotional level, because emotions can override hard calculations. Finally, become aspirational. Create a brand that consumers want to buy, not because it is superior in terms of attributes, but because it enhances their self-image. There is no other way to proceed. I'm Professor Kohli, and this has been your leadership lesson for the day.
We're back for our leadership panel. Victoria and Rochelle, thank you so much for rejoining us.
Thank you. Grateful to be here.
So the way this works is we have 4 questions. You'll each have a chance to answer each of those questions. Victoria, you'll answer the first question, but you'll both have a chance to answer each question as we go. Our first question is for Victoria, and it is about do's and don'ts. So each of you share 1 do and 1 don't for building a marketing or branding strategy.
1 do, get obsessively crystal clear on who it is that you're solving a problem for. Know your customer. And if they're aging or if they're changing, you either follow them or you recognize that your product or service is designed for a certain need state or stage of life. Hone in and talk to them.
And what about a don't?
Oh, so many. But I think with a don't, I would say do not put creativity above clarity. Brands that successfully connect with their customer are extremely clear on, again, the do's and the don'ts are always tied together, right? So it goes back to what can this and will this do for me? And again, when you're beginning a project with either your brand or a different brand, focus on the clarity and the creativity will follow.
Terrific. So same question for you, Rochelle. share one do and one don't for
Okay.
building a marketing strategy.
Okay, so my do would be to interview your customers. Ask them a lot of questions. You'll begin to see patterns and know how to win their heart. You'll also get feedback. Like it or not, you're going to get useful feedback from them.
Okay, and the don't?
The don't is don't over-direct your marketing agency or team. You hired them for a reason, and let them do the creative thinking and the heavy lifting and come back to you with some amazing ideas.
Terrific. Those are some great do's and don'ts. So thank you. We're off to a great start. So for our second question, Rochelle, you're going to go first this time. We're going to start with this question about the future of marketing. What does the future hold in the marketing branding world, and what must companies do now to prepare for it?
So that is the million-dollar question. There are so many different channels out there. There's a lot of noise. So I would say that looking into and leaning into being authentically your brand, telling a great story, having a pulse on your customers, always listening to them, and then adapting. A new tool is out every day. So adapt, seek, learn, have a great team that surrounds you, a team that's smarter than you, that can challenge you and bring your whole group to the next level.
Terrific. So same question for you, Victoria. What does the future hold in the branding world?
Well,
And what must companies do to prepare for it?
Hire Rochelle. I think her answer was brilliant, and I co-sign on all of that. I would lean in further and build on that to say that because of the noise, brands need to realize or understand how to get more nuanced. That just goes deeper and deeper into really resonating with your customers' daily life, what they are actually feeling, thinking, and experiencing throughout the day so that your brand can meet them where they are, and less about converting or convincing, and again, more about clarity. I think one thing that all brands can do to prepare for the future is to seek ways in which their product or service can be more experiential in how they market themselves. Because the visual and the sonic, it is so, there's a sensory overload, I think, in today's marketing. So if you can almost get more tactile, right? A very simple and direct example would be mailing something in the good old US postal mail now is coming back around as something that's very effective for brands because we've gone all digital. Mm-hmm. But that tactile of being able to have a one-on-one relationship with someone can be personal. So just thinking more, again, how you can insert yourself into, interrupt kind of the noise and be more nuanced.
So our next question is about artificial intelligence. And Victoria, you're going to go first. How will AI specifically impact the marketing and branding world?
Well, as a storyteller, I can say that seeing the number of things that I can tell are written by ChatGPT come through my desk has been slightly horrifying, but more than that, really fulfilling to know that AI, I think, can help us create content, but it's always going to be humans that drive true connection, right? AI can help us work more quickly, but you cannot accelerate trust. So I would look in the sense of what your team has identified and your team of humans has identified as the true North Star for your brand, how your story is really going to reflect and resonate with your consumers. If that is the pillar, please, by all means, use AI to help you do the busy work faster so that you can focus on understanding and serving your customer.
That's great. So, Rochelle, it's the same question for you. How will AI specifically impact the marketing world?
I completely agree with what Victoria said. I'll add that businesses and organizations should have an AI policy for their team so that their team knows what the guide rails are, like what can you do, what can't you do. Also, as an agency, we have it in all our contracts, how we use it, where we use it for efficiencies and idea generation. It can be an amazing tool, but just like anything, it can be bad too. So just creating some guardrails around that, and then knowing your clients and what they're open to. We have some that we don't use it at all, and others we're able to look at create a voice for him and tape his voice and make him do certain things on screen that he's not actually doing, and he loves it. So there's just a balance of that new techie, like being relevant and trying new things and seeing how cool it can be, but then also knowing your customer, knowing their customer as well, and where's that balance. So it's a constant searching and identifying where you're at, where you're going, ensuring that you have the policies in place to make sure that you're meeting the standards, and then also exploring new avenues, because some of it's exciting.
That's terrific. So it's now time for the final word. This is where each of you will have a chance to share one final piece of wisdom or some final piece of advice. And Rochelle, you're going to go first.
My final word is to be curious all the time. Be curious with your clients, be curious with your team, be curious with your community, and always seek to continue to learn. This is a place where I learned, got my start in college and got my MBA here. And now I come back here. I come back here to teach others, but also to learn myself. And I've learned a lot today from Victoria and you, so thank you so much.
Victoria, it's time for your final word.
My final word would be that marketing and branding are truly a reflection of leadership. I think you can see a classic marketing spoken of as a bid for attention, but as a leader, you can frame it as broadcasting both authenticity and then earning authority and trust. So how you lead your company, whether you're a marketing executive or a CEO, really comes out in the integrity in which you commit to serving your customers.
And there you have our final word. I want to thank you, Victoria and Rochelle, for joining us on today's show and sharing your wisdom and delightful ideas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you have a question or need advice, connect with us by email, leadership@fullerton.edu, or on Instagram at CSUF-CFL. Thank you for tuning in to today's show, where we talked about branding and marketing strategy. Thanks to our featured guests, Victoria Ho and Rochelle Reiter, for sharing your expertise on this important topic. A special shout out to Dr. Chiranjeev Kohli for delivering today's leadership lesson. Join us each episode of The Leadership Voice, where leaders share insights and best practices to make your business thrive. Subscribe to us on YouTube to get the latest episode releases and special features from the show. I'm Jay Barbuto here at the Giles O'Malley Center for Leadership at Cal State Fullerton, and we'll see you next time right here on The Leadership Voice.